Hello and good morning, everyone. Good to see you. Paul Tranny here. I'm going to dive into today's design masterclass. This is going to be a lot of fun. It's actually the top Illustrator tips for 2022. So just the latest in, honestly, all the stuff that I've been learning lately. Some things that, again, that are going to be new this year, but definitely stuff that you don't know about. So this is going to be really exciting. I'm glad you're here, Sam. Michelle, thank you so much. Afroja, everybody's here. Chantel as well. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening, my friends. So, yeah, let me just kind of like share my screen and we'll get this started and we're going to have some fun. So, I really like the topic for today. So, let's switch over. All right, fantastic. Just had to grab my coffee. I'm going to be honest with you. So yeah, this is going to be really fun. So let's dive into this. Welcome. Happy Friday. That's for sure. Sam Peterson's in the house. Really appreciate you. We appreciate you, Reverb Mike, as well. So we're going to dive into this. If you're joining me elsewhere, I would appreciate it if you could jump over to behance.net/Adobe Live, because that's the what I'm working on now. So this is just kind of cool. Hello. There we go. Yeah, I was kind of working on this. This is just one fun little test thing that I was doing that I just thought was kind of cool. Here I was like, oh, I want to do like, maybe sort of like a deep sea piratey tiki type theme. I started to set this up because I was like, tentacles. And it's actually one of my prints behind me is like these cool octopus tentacles. And yes, these do need to be adjusted. So technically, I think, they should be offset a little bit. But I'm like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to like sort of have, have some sort of brush or stroke that is actually a tentacle. So that's actually where we'll start. And by the way, let's reduce to basic appearance and change the color. Because at most, out of the box, what you get is you get sort of like this sort of line. And you can change the variable width profile to do something like that. Right? So it's like, okay, well, we might be able to have the option to do something fun by turning this into a brush. So that's exactly what I did. Brushes aren't new, but I think just the different ways we use them are. And I'm going to get into the width profile as well is going to be really interesting here. But let's take this, we'll drop it into our brushes panel. We're going to make this a pattern brush because we want all this content to repeat. So this is the top of the tentacle. This is the bottom of the tentacle. We'll click OK. There we are. Sort of define that corner. And that's about all we need to do. We can go ahead and click OK. Now it is a brush. So we can go ahead and select that, click on our brush, and that's what we get. We get this sort of action, which is kind of, again, kind of fun. We'll hit N. Let's go a little bit smoother with my Wacom. There we go. Oh, it's a little off like... What did I do? Let's take a look. Double click in here. And just kind of double check sort of the spacing and everything. I do have a weird... Did I not grab all of... let's just make sure we have everything. Did I grab everything? Yeah, all that stuff. It's giving me definitely a space that I don't want. So we'll try this pattern brush one more time. And it might be the corners when it's bending. Let's try auto between, right? But now this one just already looks better. I'm not sure what the situation was there a second ago. But again, let's hit N for pencil. We can draw. We don't see it there. Let's go ahead and click, and there's our tentacle. Okay, so we can still play with the width profile. So we'll jump in, and now we have this cool, like, tentacle look, right? I'm just kind of like really into this. Right? Now we can create something like more advanced. Draw, draw, draw. Okay. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. We'll double click on this. We'll take a look at it. So here's the situation. Couple things come into play here. First off, and this is the most important tip that I tell people, I see people getting this mixed up on forums, but the whole idea that anytime they draw a new path, usually it defaults back to the line, right? So now that I need to draw a bunch of tentacles, I'll go down here and I'll just say, uncheck this box in appearance. Turn off new art has basic appearance. And if there's one panel, I think we can all agree, Emma and Felix and Frank and everyone, like the appearance panel is going to be your best friend, the most powerful panel in Illustrator, right? So again, turn that off, right? And then all I need to do is select this other line, and it says, oh, this must be the line you last used. And then we can draw. There it is. But now we have the problem when I draw on this side, I don't want the suction cups to be on top, right? So how do we do that? Well, we could take this same brush, duplicate it, and this second one right here, we'll double click, we'll change this. So this is going to be tentacle left. And then we'll flip it across the vertical axis. And there we have that squared away exactly the way I want it. Apply to strokes. And then change the uniformity. And now I can draw sort of tentacles coming from the left and the right. Let's make our fun shape, by the way. Let's kind of move this over. Let's make like, I feel like we need to make our head of our octopus. Right there. Boom, boom, shaboom. I, gada, gada, gada. Okay, so I'm glad that happened. Another pro tip, oops. Let me go in here. Let's crank this up some more. You can see we have this line. I'm going to put this on top. Okay, so you ready for this? Krishna, anytime I want to sample, what if I want to make a pink octopus, right? And I have this pink color here. I can hit I for the eyedropper, right? Go up here. And again, since this is selected, I hit I and then I click and it automatically fills it matches that complete style. So anytime you use the eyedropper, it's going to sample everything, right? And put it in there. But there are some little shortcut keys, right? I'm probably going to get them wrong, but they are in my notes. So let's just double check and follow my script that I wrote up. Well, anyways, I'm sure I have it in here somewhere. The short of it is you have a couple options. If I hold down the Shift key, it will just replace your current color with the selected color. So just to recap, rather than having this sample and change the whole thing to pink, if I just want to change the line to pink, hold down the Shift key, click, and it changes the line. So the Shift key will just sample the color and not the whole appearance is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so that could be helpful. What if we want to do the reverse? You ready for this? Check this out. This is kind of neat. Like, so let's just say this is our lovely like seafoam green. And we want to do the reverse. We don't want to sample this pink. We want to turn this blue into this green. So we'll hit I for eyedropper, and then we'll hold down the Option key, and this reverses it. If you hold down the Option key, it reverses. It says, hey, I'm going to take this green color, and I'm going to put it in there just by holding down the Option key. Bam, and then it does the reverse. So the Option or Alt key will do the reverse, and you get the idea. Hopefully that makes sense. I have my chat covered up by my notes. Let's move this over. Yeah, okay, so there's just a couple things. Octopus vulgaris. Is that the name of the actual octopus? Ooh, Frank. Frank, did you ask that question just to set up my next part? Because that's exactly where we end up. So good call. Is there a way to keep brushes and patterns created you know, can you keep them in each new Illustrator file you open? And the answer is yes. Let's show how to do that as well right now. Because honestly, like, this is a cool, and let me finish my tentacles, by the way, since I made them. This is a weird blob. Let's shrink it down. But here we could start attaching. Send this to the back. You know, we could start attaching everything like so. Come in here, sample. Ooh. Weird. This also happens when you draw with the pencil tool. It says keep selected. That's part of your pencil tool options. I don't want it to keep it selected because I just want to start drawing new ones. So again, here's this. Ooh, there we go. Wait for it. Wait for it. Ugh. Flip it. Change it. Pack it. Ship it. Anyways, so that's what I would work on. Just like creating this really cool octopus is what I'm going to work on. I want to do like a tiki theme. So again, really fun, easy to make all this stuff. So Frank's question is, you know, what happens once you create all these cool brushes? Can they be available every single time? What about all the, you know, swatches and stuff like that? The answer, of course, is going to be yes. Let me actually name this one really fast. This will be tentacle right. There we go. We'll click OK. Okay, cool. Save that file. So this is how I have mine set up, by the way. File, new. And then in here, I have this file just called everything. It's always my default file. So this works out great. If I go to this everything file, we'll open that up. And I think this is what Frank wants, is like all these awesome brushes right in here. Boom, look at all these awesome brushes that I'll just continually reference. Now, brushes, graphic, not even so much graphic styles, but symbols. Like this will add to your file size. Just kind of keep that in mind. Like, look at these awesome graphic styles. We could just jump in. Oh, love all this stuff. Here's that line. No, let's make it, you know, a fun line, right? You get the idea. I could immediately start creating. If I'm creating that underwater sea, you know, maybe these are just some, I don't know, some sea plants kind of coming up from the bottom. Anyways, here this is. I'm going to show you how to make this because I'm actually going to update it with my tiki brushes. Right? So we have this one, we have this one. We have these, excuse me, tentacle brushes that are going to be part of my tiki design. Anytime I paste this in a new file, it will automatically add it. So they're actually down there. But let me show you how to do this because I would usually create a bunch of brushes. I would have a ton of swatches. My big thing is like the gradients. So like Frank, I don't know if you have this issue. Like I'm always creating the same gradients and stuff. It's like, look at all this stuff in here. A lot of my color groups here as well. Kelp. Thank you for that word, Richard. Kelp. That's probably the word I'm looking for. So that's what I'll do. Like I have all this ready to go. So when we jump in here, tiki. Again, brand new file. Let's go ahead and click. And we could try some of these, see if any of these look any good. I don't know. Right, so there's our tiki. Boom, boom. There we go. Anyways, so there's our file. You can see all of our assets, all of our gradients. I'm going to save this. You could save this a couple different ways. You can save this as a template. Save it a template. I think if you save it in templates, you might not have permissions to save it there, right? So let me just save it to my desktop. I'll call it Tiki, just for fun. This is an AIT file. We could save that. I could also just save this as not as an AIT file, but as just an AI file on my desktop. Ooh, I already have one called Tiki. Tiki 2. So anyways, oh, let's change this. Adobe Illustrator. There we go. Wait for it. Save. Okay. Anyway, so you could save it as a template file. If you do that, you always have to go up to File, New from Template, right? And then you got to go like find that file. I don't like that. I think we can both agree, or we could all agree, that we just want to go to File, New, and find it right in here, right? So that's why we want to take our Tiki file, this one, we'll call it, Tiki, default. And then you can put it in this new document profiles. So I wish there was an easier way to share this path with you. Does anybody know how to copy a path? I feel like I should be given a path bar. Copy new document profiles as path name. Let's try that. Because maybe I could paste it into... Oh, yeah. Here you go. So I just pasted in on a Mac. This is where you'd paste that. This is where you'd put the file. So yeah, I'm looking for some fun Tiki phrases, by the way. Ooh, I guess I cannot do that. Oh, I see. Here we go. Hold on. I'm going to paste that one more time. I just got to get rid of that. So that's where it goes. It goes in your application support, Adobe Illustrator, settings, and that's where you'll paste it. Right in here. In your new document profiles. So what's cool about this is you could go in and you can change everything, by the way. In these new document profiles, you can say for every, I think I actually did that for my print file, but for my web file, anytime I pick a new web file, give me all these defaults. So that's where you find all of these. So if you go to File, New, and I will have to restart, but that's where all these come from. If we go to Web, that's where this web file comes from. Print, that's where your print files come from. So kind of keep that in mind. I will have to restart Illustrator. But, that's probably the biggest help for me, is dropping that in your new document profiles. That's clear down in your library. Okay, so now we'll launch it. Oh, I like that quote, little Twitter. Maybe it should be called Tranny AI at the end. Tranny. I don't know. Somebody's making a weird pun with my name, and I'm okay with it. So here's my everything file. Oftentimes that will actually appear in your print. There's Tiki default. That's, for some reason, I don't know why it appears under the print, but it'll be right down here. And sure enough, there's our Tiki default, right? Or our just standard default, whatever. Call it whatever you want. And then there we go. As we scroll down, we could see our tentacles brush and all that good stuff. Okay, enough of that. Put the lime in the coconut. I want some good Tiki phrases. I was looking on Pinterest earlier, just is there a cool, fun Tiki bar name is kind of what I'm looking for. The beach bums. I like the beach bums. So that's my phrase for the day, is something Tiki related. Okay. Because Tiki bars do kind of have the most fun names. All right, so here's our new file. We'll jump in here. Let me show you this as well, because there's so many things that you can set as your defaults. Ooh, the Oasis, yeah. The Beach Bums. I think there's a bar in San Francisco called Pagan Idol, right? I don't know if that offends anybody. There's one that just opened up here in Denver called Hell or High Water. So super fun names. Ricky Tiki Tavern, Trader Joe's. I'm sorry, you're fired, Richard. You're fired. Just kidding. Actually, Trader Joe's does technically work. It totally does. Who's Ricky, though? So yeah, I'll pick one of these. I personally like Hell or High Water. Key West. Yeah, anything Hawaiian, fun, puns, you know, the Beach Bums works. I like Hell or High Water because that's just cool, you know. But anyways, while you do that, notice that this default font that I have selected, oh, that's not Myriad Pro. Imagine that. It's not Myriad as your default. That's because I have that changed as my default. So you can go into type, go down to character styles. If it's in brackets, it means it's your default. So you could change the default. Double click. And sure enough, if we take a look, basic character formats, Acumen variable concept. So we can go to, like, you can actually go with, you can mess with somebody's system and you can do Comic Sans as the default font. How annoying would that be if Comic Sans was always your default? But now I went ahead and made that my default right in here. So if I save this back to that location right in here, for Tiki default or everything or whatever, or if I change any one of these, I can change each one to Comic Sans and it'll always open with Comic Sans. So that's one way to really mess with a coworker or whoever. Duval Street, I have no idea what that is. Ricky Tiki Tavi is a Rudyard. I don't know what that means. Anyways. All right, so that's how you could change that. So jump in there and do that. I usually do, and you could change all these various options. The only reason I do Acumen is because it has all of these capabilities to adjust. So that's what gives me these variable concept fonts, gives me these lovely little sliders. So I like have the most control over this font. Changing the weight, the width, and there might be other fonts that give you this level of control, but this works pretty darn well. These aren't very Tiki related, so let's talk about fonts a little bit more. Yeah, so all this stuff is all customized, by the way. Stuff in here, stuff in here. Let's actually take this and let's play with the font. Duval Street. Okay, Duval Street. But it almost sounds like any other bar, I guess, is my only concern with that. Anywho, here's our text. If you get a little carried away, notice that I just added a graphic style because I had a bunch preloaded, so it makes creating things really fun and easy. And as I jump in and change these, you get the idea. I could reduce this back to the basic appearance because I do really want to kind of focus on the text and loading up some new fonts and all that good stuff. So we'll go right in here. We can see we could find more fonts. It's going to initialize. It's basically like going out to Adobe Fonts. Just make sure your filter is cleared. So there's no filter in here, right? So you could kind of see what this looks like. Maybe I'll find some interesting ones in here. I'll actually go to decorative because we want to have some really interesting decorative fonts, or I'm actually going to modify it. I really like this. Alfran Regular might be a good basis for the start of just like a cool logo. Oceans Luau West. Cool. Yeah, Steve, we do need more variable fonts. I agree, 100%. Okay, so I will usually jump out to fonts.adobe.com and filter that way. So, once I'm signed in, I'll make sure anyways, I'm not even signed in under the correct profile, just so you know. But I'd go to all fonts and look at the different tags. So right in here, I can pick probably something rough would be kind of fun. But that just kind of helps me kind of narrow down font I want to use. So, right, like this one, HWT American. Ooh, love this. Look at this cool. This is really cool too. Anyways, I'm just having fun with this text right now. Oh, Rum Punch is more like a biker bar. I kind of like that name. If you're curious, actually, Hell or High Water is a brand new bar here in Denver, and it is it's like a gay pirate themed like zombie bar. So it has like 5 different themes with it. So, anyways, we have these. This text is getting kind of hard to read. This is not about designing, but since I am designing, let's talk about some other shortcuts. Ooh, a wavy line for high water. I like that. That works. Hell or high water. So let's play with this, right? Yeah, it's like it's a gay Satanist pirate tiki bar. I don't mean to get all crazy on you. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's just so funny that that's the name. It just makes me laugh. All right, so either way, Hell or High Water Tiki. We'll start to like design this logo. We'll get into colors here in a second, but I also want to get into like alignments. So if we did want to do like something that had some waves or some element, and let's actually just jump in and make a quick element. Quick designed element that we might want to align with our logo, right? So again, this is the logo I'm working on. And maybe I do have this word tiki. Maybe I'll just focus on this word. And it is actually pretty angular, just so you know. I could take this. Let's go ahead and let's actually drag this down. We'll option click. If you option and click, you can change this to the chamfered corners from rounded corners, all that fun stuff. Because all I'm doing is making like a little diamond like so. Right, and let's say I have this shape and I want to actually align it to this text somehow. We could do that as well. So we'll select this text. We'll go down in here in fact, I'll open up my character panel. Here's my character panel. And why is snap to glyph not on? Let's change this to something really basic. Sorry about that. Arial. Ooh, this is fun. Arbotech. Ooh, that's fun. I like that. But why is it not? Why can't I turn on snap to glyph? What am I doing wrong here? That is the question. But this is snap to glyph. Basically, you could typically turn it on Oh, that's why. I know why. You ready for this? Oh, I'm so glad we ran into this. Turn on smart guides. I don't think I had smart guides on before. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, this is what I have to do. This is what gets confusing, by the way. You need to go to View, clear down to Snap to Glyph. So you actually need to turn it on. And then you'll see these are all now turned on. It's kind of lame how I have to go someplace else entirely to be able to turn these on. But now we have Snap to Glyph. And we have a bunch of cool fonts, to be honest with you. I'm like totally into this. But let's take this text. As I roll it over, notice how it's snapping to, and that's why I try to pick a different font. Let's take this font right here. We can kind of move this around and you can see it's actually snapping to the different glyph bounds. So if I decide I want it to be flush with the top, I don't have to drag out guides to do that. Or flush with the X height, right? Should give me the X height, and let's make this a little bit smaller. And that's what these are. Here's the X height. So if I don't want some of these snapping options turned on, I could always turn those off. It's going to snap to point, and it's everywhere where it turns green. Glyph bound, boom. To the top, we can see the height of the text. And it might actually depend on the font. Oh, you know what? I need to turn on, boom. There was not a capital in there, but now there's a capital in there. It should snap to the glyph bound, the top of my text, and to these points, because points should be turned on as well. So it might depend on how your font is set up, is kind of what I'm realizing. But the key thing is I can align this exactly the way I want using these options. So that's all. Let's move on with the rest of our lives, shall we? Yeah, so you like this font? I think this is like totally working. I don't know why. You know, we could always make it look playful anyway, you know. So we have some options when it comes to just having fun. So we want to start with a basic font and just have fun with it. So let's take this text. Let's add some more to this. What if we wanted a cursive font? You ready for this? Let's do this. Let's do a script-based font. We'll roll through some of these. Some of these are fun. Some of these are a little bit hard to read. Let's just say we want to go with any one of these. This is where I'm going to spend most of my time, is just trying to pick a font. Let's just go with this top one. So here we have this text. Let's change the color really fast. I'm going to give it an outline. Let's give it a black outline. And this always happens. Does this happen to you, Bruce? Tell me, does it? What about Caroline, huh? Happy Friday to you. But this is so annoying. It's like, no, just flow one into the next. How do you fix this? Most people will outline it. They'll create outlines and then they'll do Pathfinder, which no longer makes it live text. And we're going to keep this as live text. How we do that is we go down our appearance panel and we'll just add another fill on top. Now let's take a look at it. Oh, thank you very much. It flows one into the next. We lose a little bit of the thickness of the stroke size. We can thicken that up as well. So that's how you can kind of get one to the next. Another thing that usually happens, by the way, you'll be like, another pro tip, I'll just get rid of this, is you might want to throw a gradient on there. And I was just about to be proven wrong. Oh well. I've had maybe this is it. Let's flip this. Oh, never mind. Okay, we won't worry about it. Sometimes whenever you're not given gradients, just know that your appearance panel can override pretty much anything, and it'll treat this just like any other shape using your appearance panel. But let's take this a step further. You ready for this, Doris? I have this case where, like, maybe I want to have What if, and let me change this, because I'm just going to change this to maybe a purple, okay? And now I want to have maybe another stroke that is, oops, I just made another fill. Another stroke, and I'll drag out my appearance panel so we could all see this. Keep in mind the orders of these, like the order matters a lot, but I'm making the second stroke and it's going to be black. So I can start to layer this stuff, which usually looks pretty cool. But now I have this black one. What if I want this black one offset? So I want to make this like a sticker where this black line is way offset, way out here, right? This is the easiest way to do it. And again, what people will do is they'll take this and they'll outline it, right? This is what people will do, is create outlines, and then they'll go into effects, and then they'll do offset path. So this is what people will try to do. They'll try to do this crazy offset path stuff and outline in the text. You just don't need to. So what I want to point out to you is you can come in here and you have these same effects that you can apply to a stroke. So we can go to offset path for that stroke, shabingo, and there we get a little weirdness right there, which I'm not crazy about. But I can offset that path like however many I want. And I'm just realizing that that's kind of funky. Either way, if you run into that, hey, you know, we could just hopefully change the font and fix it, is what I was hoping I could do. Oh, you know, life. Tiki, that's fun. Let's go into our stroke. Our offset path is applied to that stroke. That is weird. I wasn't crazy about that gap that it presented to us, but let's add another stroke really fast underneath these. Anyways, just kind of layering some things one on top of the next and showing you that you could add effects right in here. What if we want something more fun? Let's do this. Let's have some fun with this. So we want Tiki to be like really crazy fun too. So we'll just change this fill to just an entirely different color because I want you to be able to see it. And this is kind of cool. So you do have effects that we can add up here or in my appearance panel. I'm going to go down to this one that I actually like never use, but I think in this case it might actually work. We'll go into, yes, we're used to using drop shadow, maybe some of these other ones, but we have something called Scribble. So let's go into Scribble. Sure enough, we have these different Scribble options giving me like that rough look, right? And we know there's other distortion techniques, but I like this. Like we can go in like, oh, that's hard to see. But this dense version, right? Or loose, right? And we can always change the size of this text and the pattern. Like, look at that. Doesn't that look cool? And we can start to change this. Like, what if we want it to go the other direction? We can adjust the angle, as you can see, obviously. And it still reads as Tiki, right? If we want more or less gaps, right? That's dealing with the stroke width. But I encourage you to kind of run through some of these, see which ones work for you, and then start to modify it as well. And keep in mind, I'm doing this on actual text, so I did not, I haven't outlined anything. Like that look is kind of nice as well. Snarl. Oh, come on now. Look at that. All right, you get the idea. We'll go sharp, click OK, done. There is the Scribble. I just love how it actually retains the shape and it doesn't clip it or anything like that. what if we want this just to affect the fill? Well, we could drop it inside of the fill. So now that I've moved it inside there, now I have that nice black outline, and doesn't affect the outline, just affects the fill. So anyways, the font is Arbotech. So again, we have this. This could be an option as we still start to work on our, you know, hell or high water or whatever. What's the name? I don't even know. I don't remember. Yeah. Maybe it's a taco place. Maybe you can get tiki drinks and you can get tacos, because tacos are always good. Tiki tacos. Yeah, why not? All right, you get the idea. Oh, the Oasis. Okay, perfect. This is great. I could change it. The Oasis. I don't know if this rough look really kind of lends itself well to something called the Oasis. Tacos and tequila. Tiki tacos. All right, so yeah, you get the idea. Let me check my lovely list of 1,000 things. So many things. So let's do, I just into all this. So as I'm working, by the way, this happens a lot. You'll end up all over the place. You're like, oh, I'm down here. I usually like to work on a totally white canvas. So hopefully, you know, you can jump in and you can turn off hide edges. So don't show any of the edges. Oh, wait, not hide edges. Should be hide artboard. Zoop. Hide artboard. There we go. Sorry, I was off. Hide artboard. Now I'm working on a total white canvas, and I can zoom out and zoom in and all that stuff. Here's another pro tip that I would actually change my main file to do. Let me see if it's there now. But I can also sort of view transparency. So that's what I'm doing now. It's a shortcut key, but we can go down to show transparency grid. And that's where I can actually start to see the white, which becomes very important when you're designing. And then you see that background grid as well. You could also change this if you care to. You can go into document setup. We can change this to just a nice teal. Teal. Oop. Like that. So this is going to be our new transparency color. I'll click OK. And now we have the ability to toggle like between the white and then just a different solid color, which is just more fun to work with. Because what I used to do in the past is I would draw out a big, so if you've done this, maybe you can relate. I would draw out a big square that's that teal color and put it in the back and all that stuff. So I don't need to do that anymore. That's all. Hell or high water. Let's make a couple logos. Oh no, I don't have time. I don't have time for this. Man, okay. Let's take this in here. Let's kind of work on some other things that you hopefully will find. Ooh, let's do this. Let's do this really fast. Let me do this one more thing. I think this is awesome. Let's open up our appearance panel. Last thing I'm going to show you real fast. What if I wanted to give this a shape behind it, right? But I don't know the name because we haven't decided on the name, but I want to have like some sort of container that's behind this particular text, right? So we need a container behind that. And usually you would draw out a separate shape, you know, with a different color and put it back there, right? That's one thing you can do, and you got to adjust it. Well, check this out. Just like as part of this text, I should be able to convert to rounded rectangle. Okay. bring that. And maybe I wonder if I need to group it. But I've just added a rounded rectangle. Let me change the color. Let me just search my brain. This would have to be a grouped character, so I won't worry about this. There we go. Okay, so I've grouped it, and now I'll go to rounded rectangle. Yeah, I'm going to work on this later. Never mind. We won't worry about that at all. I was going to do something cool, but it's going to take me too long to kind of get it set up. Pencil tool customizations, duplicate things when drawing. What else we got? A number of stars. What if I have a bunch of shapes and I want to rotate all these shapes, all these stars, 90 degrees? Okay, so usually if I select them all and rotate them, that's what it's going to look like. But I want all of them to just be rotated, boop, like that, right? Well, a couple different ways you could do this, but you could select all of them, go to Object, go to Transform, and then right in here, transform each. This is how you can transform each object just to be rotated 45 degrees. Right? So keep that in mind. Transform each. You can select a bunch of stuff and rotate them, skew them, all this fun stuff. What if you want to do something more advanced than just changing the size and position? You know, what if there's something else you can do? Let's click cancel. So I think that's transform each is cool. What if I have a bunch of stars? Oops. Maybe there are different sizes. Right? And I decide I want to change something in all of these. Maybe I want to change the color. And maybe this is more complex. Maybe it's a logo, but you could start a global edit. So if I hit start global edit, it recognizes all similar shapes that then you can then change, right? So that's all I'm doing. We'll change that to, you know, purple. You get the idea. How are we doing, folks? There's not enough time for this. I'm going to have to do a part 2 where I'm a little bit more organized, just so you know. Brand new in Illustrator, by the way, for 2022. What do we have? We have all the tiki drinks. So what do? Let's create a fun little list. We have Mai Tai. Mai Tai Tai? We have a Hurricanes. The drink is what I'm talking about. Right over here, bullets and numbering. Bam. Now we have bullets and numbering in Illustrator. So that's brand new, just FYI. Ooh, thank you so much. So Jacob you do say that the transform each has been a game changer. Some of these little things, hopefully, you'll see are like hugely helpful. These little things. It's always the little things. What do we have? Let's bring back our artboard. So what I would do is I would set up this artboard with a logo, and I'm sorry I don't have time to do this all right now, but I could have one artboard, a second artboard, maybe 3 artboards. In fact, let's just change the size of this first one. I'm just doing a copy and paste, by the way. So here's our 3 artboards. We'll have one logo here. We'll have one here. We'll save that off to the side. We'll put this here. So maybe you create 3 different logos, right? I want to talk about exporting content out because I think this is cool. Let me save my file first off. We'll call this Tiki Logos. There they are. Right, but now I really just want to share one logo with someone else. So rather than going through and deleting all the other artboards and exporting out, saving the file, you can do a save as and call it just Tiki Logos. Tiki Logos final. Final, final, final. I mean it this time. Right in here. This little checkbox too. Save each artboard to a separate file. Oh, just make a bunch of Illustrator files. Boom. Right? It will output each of those artboards as a separate file, which I think that is pretty huge. What else we got? Let's do this really fast. And I'm so sorry, I got my notes covering up chat. There's a little icon. Yeah, so this is just stuff you need to know. What if we have this lovely, we're making this lovely scene, and I have this sort of star shape. You know, we'll just do this really fast. And I'll just like punch a hole. I want this to be subtracted from the shape behind it. So a lot of people will go to Pathfinder, right? We could do that. Boom, Pathfinder's our best friend. We just went ahead and subtracted it entirely, but now I need to like move the star. You know, you could do Command Y and use your direct selection tool and go through all that jazz and try to move it, right? That's fine. But also what you could do before you do any of that is you could select both of these and then hold down the Option key. If you hold down the Option key when you're creating a path, or when you're using Pathfinder, it will make this a compound object that can be edited later on. In fact, we can see it right up here. There's my compound shape. But that means we could jump in. All that math is still there. So I can move this around and it doesn't sort of delete the math. It keeps it in there, which is awfully nice, right? What's one other thing I thought of that I should talk about? I don't remember. There was something else I wanted to get at around this and I cannot remember. Let me know if you guys have questions. How exactly do you get the bullets and numbering? Just update Creative Cloud. So just go to your desktop app and make sure it's updated, right? So that's all you need to do is just make sure you're on version 26.4.1 and you'll have those bulleted and numbered lists and some additional 3D stuff, which is cool. And yeah, you get the idea. I can't remember. I have a long list of stuff. And I'm just looking through this. I was going to talk about the iPad, but I don't have time to get involved with all that. But anyways, I mean, there's other things you can do. You know, you can open up this same document in 2 different windows. I don't know if you guys do this at all. I don't get me involved in the history, but if I'm working on this logo right here, this is still the same file, by the way. So I could have this up, zoom, maybe this is the sort of larger view. And then on this side, you know, I can get into the little details. So since this new window's open, notice how I adjust, it's going to change it in the new window on the side, which is nice. Okay, so if you have a separate monitor, you could always put your logo up there and people can watch your work, which will make it fun. Oh, another thing that is brand new too, and this will be the last thing I'll talk about because it becomes important, is there's a history panel in Illustrator now as well. It's going to say a lot of the same things. Plus with like unlimited undos in Illustrator, you know, I don't know. Have you needed a history panel? Maybe I'll use it. Maybe I won't. It's kind of fun to see all this stuff. And you get the idea. So history panel is brand new as well. So if you guys appreciated this, like, there's a lot more I can show. I might collect my thoughts and do another one in about a month where I have a lot of this tightened up a little bit more, because I didn't get into colors or drawing creation hacks, some of the vectorized capabilities, and the 3D. I didn't get into the 3D stuff. So, but yeah, so there's kind of more I could do. Did you know you could take any Illustrator file and just save it as an AIT? So if I made this default, I can turn this into this one into a template file just by adding AIT. So when I open this, it's always gonna open as, wait for it, as an untitled file. So I can never overwrite it. So just name anything with a AIT and make your life easy so you don't overwrite anything that you wanted to. So appreciate you guys hanging out with me. It was fast, it was furious, and I was all over the place. But there's too many things to learn. Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate you guys. And yeah, I'll be online, and so good to see you guys. I just love ya, and I appreciate you so much. So have a good one, and we'll see you later.